Hi my lovelies, it's time for another analysis video. Today I would like to look at Ava Max singing live. Recently she did a video for Rolling Stone in her home and she did a couple of songs. I just want to look at the first one, Kings and Queens. Before we get started, here's a disclaimer. This is an analysis and I'm going to look at her vocal technique and what she does, how she does her phrasing. Not so much a reaction. I'm not going to scrutinize this. This is just for everyone who is a singer themselves who's interested in vocal technique. Okay, let's get started.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we will pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. Can't live without.
Okay, let's look at this first. I love that she's doing more of an unplugged version and not so much going on in the background yet. I know in the beginning, the original song, there's actually the chorus in the background that is her singing. She's doing it kind of a cappella. I like that. You know, her timbre is amazing. And this is something that comes really from birth. She was born with a voice that she has, and everyone basically is born with the sound of the voice that they have. Of course, there's a lot you can do to either let it all shine or to kind of cover it up. She is really good at letting it shine. We're gonna look at more details here, but I want you to notice how clear her voice is. She has a very undamaged voice, unoverused. It's not overused. She sings in a very good technique. She takes nice breaths. She has a very clear tone. I want you to pay attention to her phrasing, her onsets, and the way she does some ad-libs here that are not in the recorded version that is on her album. I love that she is very spontaneous here, but let's look at more details when what she does with the phrasing.
Can't live without me. You wanna
see what she does here. Can't live without me. She slides down at the end. She takes quick breaths, but she has a lot of support, and you can hear that because her breath is part of her sound. When you don't hear any breaths, that is a little weird. It doesn't sound natural. And also when you hear kind of forced breaths, here it's very natural. And pay attention to the details. This is what I see a lot in my students. The difference between, just singing the right pitches and sounding great, just like what she does here, are those details of phrasing. How do you start a pitch? When is it sliding? How fast is the sliding? How is the ending? Is there a little bit of vocal fry in the beginning? Let's look at some of the details.
you can na think
See, on the na, she's sliding down again.
it's funny, but honey, can run this show on your own.
And then she has, very nice vibrato, only occasionally when she holds a pitch, but it's very clean.
I can feel my body shake. There's only so much I can take. I'll show you how a real queen behaves.
I love when she behaves. It's like a little flip in there. It's just a microsecond where you actually do a flip in the voice. It's a microsecond of head voice / falsetto. It's this hey, 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 hey. You're coming kind of really from a higher pitch, but it happens so quickly that it only gives that cool effect of just this microsecond of a flip. Makes it more emotional and more expressive. Nice head voice here. Nice, clean, very good intonation.
No damsel in distress, don't need to save me.
See how she does the phrasing here. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. It's not, no damsel in distress, don't need to save me. But she really, no damsel in distress, don't need to save me. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Pay attention to when are the consonants, how long are the consonants, how is it put together? Is it more legato or more staccato? She mixes it up really nicely, and I think the phrasing makes a big difference.
Once I stop breathing fire, you can tame me.
Kind of very connected.
And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but if
Nice
I
vibrato
had one,
on
maybe
the
bigger
held
than
pitch at the
yours.
end.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we will pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your
See, and all these little micro flips and all these little ad-libs, they can only happen when you're well supported. Here's the thing, when you are kind of letting loose all the muscles here in your core, also the muscles that are responsible for vocal cord closure and openness in your pharynx and moving the tongue and all the moving parts that really make the articulation happen, when you kind of let loose, it's really hard to be more accurate because, you know, think of it as an athlete who just kind of like a rubber band, just like very loosely uses the body with no muscle tension. You can't really react quickly. But when you have that basic muscle tension and you're basically always alert, you can do a lot of small, very accurate movements. And this is what happens here. This is how someone can do really wonderful fast ad-libs and have a great vibrato. That underlying support and tension and alertness has a huge effect on just having a nice vibrato also.
Disobey me, then baby, it's off with your head, gonna change it.
See, and she does a lot of parallels between singing and speaking with your head. Sometimes you don't need just holding the pitch, and pay attention. This is kind of a thing that I see a lot among singers who have been in choirs a lot or beginners maybe. A lot of times what happens is they just hear the pitches, but they don't hear what happens on another level. It's a higher level or like more details. Besides just what pitch it is, it's also relevant how long is it held, especially when it comes to holding it out at the end of a phrase. And a lot of times I see a lot of singers who are in choirs just holding on. So pay attention. She's not holding on the entire time. This is maybe a psychological thing. A lot of singers just hold on at the end of a phrase because it's almost like complicated moving and like, ah, and now I can hold it and show how I can sing. Or maybe it's also the fun of like, oh, now I can just sit and hold a pitch. But it actually destroys a phrase sometimes when it's always just holding the end. So don't hold out the tail end if that's not what's really happening in the phrasing of the song.
And make it a world you won't forget. No damn.
Now she held forget. But she did a decrescendo. She didn't just sit on the pitch. Forget. So how is holding out the pitch? Is it getting louder? Is it getting softer? Is it just staying the same? Is it cut off at the end or is it tapered off at the end? These things are all relevant.
No damsel in distress, don't need to say.
Nice articulation.
Once I stop breathing fire, you can take
Very connected.
me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but I'm stronger than I ever was before. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we will pop champagne and raise a toast.
I want you to also notice how she's not having a lot of tension in her jaw. She has actually really good technique. You don't see a lot of this. It looks very easy because she's using the soft palate. She's lifting the soft palate. She has nice open vowels, no nasal sound, and that's why she brings out the best of her voice. That's how she does it, by not blocking, not squeezing, not making anything tense and tight where it doesn't need to be, but basically really having a nice open pharyngeal space, allowing the best resonance ever. She really sings nicely into her mask, and it makes her voice sound very silvery and shimmery. You know, she has a lot of those nice bright overtones that really carry.
To all of the queens who are fighting alone, baby, you're not dancing on your own.
And see how she also doesn't cover her teeth by pulling her lips over, but she has a nice open. She doesn't spread sideways, but she sings like this. It's almost like a slight smile, but not so much sideways. It's just a slight smile, showing your teeth, relaxing the jaw, and then articulating in there. It's really deep in there.
just a king can move one space at a time.
See, now she's softening up just a little bit. And the way she does that is just loosening the vocal cords just a bit. She keeps her support. And he makes it take on just a little bit of a different color. So, you know, it's a whole different section now of the song. It has a different mood, different background. And the bridges are always really fun. You know, sometimes the bridges are softer and a lot of instruments drop out. Sometimes the bridges are more like building up. And so it's really fun to make the bridge a little bit different so it keeps your audience interested. It makes something different, right?
The queens are free to go wherever they like.
So she had a nice little transition into her head voice, but very smooth. So, you know, if you didn't think about it, you would not think about, oh, now she transitioned registers. Nice, strong chest voice almost all the time in the song. And then she has these occasional just transitions into head voice, but it's very cohesive with the rest of her voice. She doesn't tilt the larynx too much. She keeps it very straight. She keeps a very nice neutral larynx placement. And so it just makes it sound like it's one of the same voice. It's not different.
You get too close, you'll get a royalty high.
She just now, you get too close. She did a little bit more narrow, had a little bit more nasal qualities, and you can do that. You can open more or close a little bit more. That doesn't make it nasal. It's just a little bit of a lift back here. Your pharynx is just, the space makes it just a little bit smaller. It's almost like you think of it like this. You can either move the bottom or the top or both. You can make all these different shapes. And that's how you can create, I mean, try it out. It's like, you can be very open, or you can be less open. You can be more or less pingy and twangy. And that's how you can influence the sound. And I like how she just, in a very subtle way, uses different voice colors. She's really good at that. While, on average, keeping a nice neutral placement, which really reduces strain.
So breathe it in to feel alive.
Nice open. Yes. Okay, a little bit of vocal fry there. Okay, I think she's pretty awesome. She has more of an alto color and range, but I love her technique. I love her songs. I think she's amazing. My daughter loves her and she has so many songs out now. It's really worth watching her. Like when you watch her live, you can learn a lot because she's one of the singers, at this point at least, what I see, she's treating her voice well. She is not straining. She has good technique. And it brings out the best in her voice. It's if you have a similar voice to hers, then she's a good example to listen to and to not imitate her voice, but to just maybe emulate some of the technique that she uses. Thank you so much for watching today. If you're interested in really diving deep, I have my 4-month masterclass. That's when you work with me over the course of 4 months. You can go to my website, masteryourvoice.tv. And if you just want some free resources, some more courses that I have available, you can also find them on my website. I also have a free Facebook group called Master Your Voice. Look me up there, connect, and every Thursday, everyone can post a video or recording of themselves to share their progress. Have a most wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon. Always keep on singing.
Makes me feel sad for the